Hey guys, welcome back to Vallone's RC Hobby. And in this video, we're going to do something a little different today, something a little special. And we're going to do an online YouTube interview with another RCer. And that guy is Dave Solomon. And if you guys have seen him on YouTube, he just passed the 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. And he owns the YouTube channel called RC Mod Squad. And he's out of Colorado. And I've come across Dave's videos in the past. And what was really refreshing about Dave's videos is that he puts things down in nice, simple terms. It's very easy to follow the video and even listen to his voice as he's speaking. And it's not all crazy editing, and it's really helpful tips to help you get your RC car back on the road, because you know we're always tinkering with them. So I want to welcome Dave here. Dave, how are you today, man?
Hello, everybody.
I love it.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
That's excellent, guys. If you ever see his videos, I love even the intro that he has. It's like the cat, not the Cat in the Hat, the Pink Panther. It's just it's like vintage stuff. It's just, I love vintage, you know, and it goes back to my old days of watching cartoons on TV. So really, really cool, Dave. And I'm glad you can join me here. I mean, this is my first time doing a video or an interview session here with another fellow RCer.
Me too.
Yeah, I think it'll be awesome. I think it's something different. I haven't seen much, or if any, RC interviews out there. And then maybe this is something that could continue on. And I'd love to have you back one day. Maybe we could do a whole WL Toys, 144001 special one day. And that would be real cool. So I'm here in New York. I'm talking to this guy in Colorado, and I think it's really cool that we can reach out and talk some RC. So are you ready to roll?
Sure, let's go.
All right, let's do it. So I've already stated your name. Let's state your claim, and give me your favorite quote that you have, or what else did I say? Your message to the RC community.
You know, there's a couple that stick with me. One of them is buy nice or buy twice. You know, but as far as anything else goes, I'm pretty open to new ideas and stuff, and I like to tinker and see. For me, that's a big part of the RC hobby is the ability to tinker. And I mean, I used to build engines for cars. Well, I can build an RC for less than a piston for my Mustang.
Correct.
So
I'm with you there, because my background is restoring vintage VWs, and it seems to be a dying art today, or a dying skill,
right?
To so-called get your hands dirty, right? And I think that's one thing. As much as I like the ready-to-run vehicles, I do miss the old school ones, like the Blackfoot, the Tamiya cars, where they come as kits, and you sit there and you build with your father or your friend or something like that, and you know the car in and out.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of times I'll just take a new car and just disassemble it so that I know what's under the hood. I never did build a kit, and that's just kind of what my channel is about. I had one RC car that I bought many years ago. It was from Radio Shack, and I actually still have it, but it was a Golden Arrow. And it was more like the Tamiya stuff. It's got the engine in the rear, just a straight axle, no rear suspension, but it did have suspension in the front. Just a basic little, ran on NiCads, you know.
Yep.
And so when I finally decided I wanted to actually go out and get a legit RC car, I went to the local hobby store, and I mean, I looked at a couple of kits that they had there, and they just made it sound like, oh, you've got to be a rocket scientist. And, you know, if you've never done an RC car, I don't think I'd start there. Yeah, you know, and I'm thinking, man, it shouldn't be that difficult. So that's where I bought, and I did buy something there. I bought a Nitro J-Tow, and I love that car.
Yeah.
But I can hardly ever drive it anywhere. I had one place that I could take it, and they tore that place down. One parking lot that was big enough to achieve the maximum speed of that car.
Oh, wow.
And they took that place away. So now I had to reevaluate, and that's really what my channel is about. I want to show people, I want to make them think about what they want to buy before they buy something. So if you have a tiny little bit of room, you can
Yeah.
scale down and get something like the 18th or 16th or 18th scale cars, and you can
Right.
have a blast with those. You
Sure.
don't have if you've got $1,000 and you just can throw it up in the air and walk away from it, then go buy go to the hobby store and buy an RC car.
Right. And I
They'll
agree with
they'll
you.
sell you something.
I think that was I got back into the hobby about a year and a half ago after 25, 30 years. And, growing up in the 80s and the 90s, and I remember the prices back then. I mean, my mother bought me, and when I was, I don't know, 10 years old or something, the Tamiya Falcon. And at the time, we bought it at a local hobby shop around the corner, and then they also built it for us. But in the end, it came out to about $350. And
Right.
that was a lot of money back then in the 1980s. And, my mom plunked that down. She works her butt off. And, but today, the quality that you get, like that, even at WL Toys for under $100,
Right.
and it rips. I mean, it'll blow the pants off of it to me, a Falcon any day.
Right.
So the technology is really accelerated to the point where when I jump back in and I'm like, wow, this is what you get a lot for your money these days. You
You do.
really
You really do. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's really what the focus of what I'm doing. If you want to just buy something straight out of the box, like the 144001, it's a great car straight out
Yeah.
of the box. Just buy it and drive it. But if you like to tinker, there's a lot of stuff that is available for that particular vehicle. I've got one, and you can go to a brushless conversion. There's just so many ways to go with this. But the primary thing that I try to focus on, look at where you have the ability to run,
Yeah.
not what you necessarily maybe your ultimate, what I want to do thing, but the thing that's realistic for you.
Right.
I've got a 5th scale buggy that, I can't run it in very many places.
Yeah,
It's
I
got a
agree.
2-cycle engine on it.
Oh, wow.
It's amazingly loud,
Mhm.
so it's going to be another one of those cars that I don't get to run very often. Now but all my WL toy stuff, I can walk out my front door and run it in the street in front of my house. Nobody even looks out.
No question. And I have an Arma Limitless, which is that sucker's a rocket. It's that
Right.
Formula One looking car. And, I bought it. I love it. But I'm in the same boat. I'm like, where do I run this thing? I
Right.
literally need a runway, or I need a big warehouse space back in the back of the loading dock section where it's wide open and there's no curbs anywhere, because once this thing hits a curb, it's toast. It's gonna, I mean,
Right.
it's pretty strong, build quality, but it scared the bejesus out of me, going 85 miles an hour down just a normal road that we have here. And I'm in New York, so it's like the Hudson Valley region. It's a very congested area, so there's not many large open area places that I can run this thing. And
Right.
so, good point that the WL toys, and I have something similar to that, the LC racing car. And yeah, I could throw that thing in a backpack and take it home and just go in your driveway or just your block,
Right.
and without having to really worry about smacking into something or it taking off down the road. So very, very cool. But other question I got for you is, how long you been in the RC hobby?
The first car I had was somewhere in the mid 80s, and that was the
Okay,
Radio Shack Golden Arrow. I've
got
wanted to way before that, but just never had I didn't know anybody. And that's
it.
kind of what
Mhm.
YouTube has given us the ability. I don't know anybody else here that runs RC cars. I'm sure there are people here, and I'm not much of a Facebook person. So
Yeah.
maybe if I got on there, I could find some people here.
Okay.
There's one guy at work that's into crawlers, and his whole little group is about crawlers.
Hmm.
And I actually bought one. I bought a Gen 7 Red Cat. And
Okay.
so Tony's invited me once the pandemic is over with. He's got a
Okay.
place up in Fort Collins, Colorado that that the city, I guess, set up so that they can go run their
Oh,
scale crawlers.
uh,
So I'm gonna go try that. I haven't done that yet, but that's
popular
something on my
popular
list.
niche. Popular
Right.
niche right now is the crawlers. I haven't gotten into it yet, but I went to a local hobby shop in West Palm Beach when I was visiting down there, and they had a whole section just in their showroom for crawling. And he says people get a kick out of it. It's so popular, and
Right.
people schedule times to come in and crawl. So it's a really, really amazing, because everyone else, most of the people are bashing and, launching off ramps or trying to just do fast speed runs. But the crawling, who would have thought going real slow and crawling over rocks would have been,
Well, there's a big following on YouTube for that.
Yeah.
And they've got there's some guys out there with some fantastic videos.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that have changed. That's coming to my next question is, from the 1980s to today, in your opinion, what has changed in the world of RC? I mean, I think for one, it's crawling. I mean, I don't know how far back it's been popular, but like I said, I got into it a year and a half ago. I don't remember seeing crawling going on in the 80s. So, in your opinion, what do you think has changed all this time?
The biggest thing that's brought about some of these changes, I think, is exposure. One of the things, but yeah. the change in battery technology.
Sure.
I mean, I had a NiCad, and I mean, gosh, you had to run them down before you could charge them back up, or you got the memory effect in there. Then you got the nickel metal hydride, then the lithium ion. Now we got the lipos.
Mm-hmm.
Those things have given you so much more runtime. I've got a ratchet. I mean, talking about a pocket car, I think it's a 16th or an 18th scale. They make a ratchet and a Rampage. It's a high boxing. And I mean, it's a nice little car, and you can even mod that thing. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about doing a brushless conversion on one of those.
Okay.
But it's you can carry it anywhere. You can just leave it in your car if you wanted to,
Right,
but that's the thing, is more and more people. And that's one of the things, my focus on YouTube is to bring stuff to people. Man, I didn't know that existed. And that's, I see that frequently in my comments. Oh, wow. I got a comment the other day that, I thought all those, WL Toys things were just Chinese junk. And you've kind of opened my eyes. And he said, I'm thinking about getting one. So that's what this is about. You don't have to spend $1,000 to have a little car that you can have fun. And if you scale it to the area that you have,
correct,
even something the size of most people's garden plot can be a nice place to run an RC.
Very true. And I think you hit on a good point that the internet is so huge today with it. Again, from the 80s, when I grew up, what did we have to wait for? The 1 month for the subscription to come in of Car Action magazine.
Right.
That was your information. And as limited as it was in a magazine, I couldn't wait for that magazine to come in every month and see what the latest and greatest is. Right. Now, every night I sit down on my couch, I throw on YouTube, I throw on your channel and all the other channels that I'm subscribed to and see what else is going on. And it's amazing, like on the fly, how fast you can learn. I mean, I sat on YouTube for 2 weeks straight when I got back in the hobby just to get up to speed with the technology and the lingo.
Right.
And I mean,
that's a big thing right there, learning the language that everybody speaks, because it's kind of got its own little thing. And if you're not familiar with something like ESC and just some simple little things like that, well, it's simple if you know what the guys are talking about.
Totally.
But it's hard. And that's the reason, that's what I try to focus on, is not just throwing words in the air and assuming everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Right. Right. And I think that's a good message for your channel. I think that's the next question, is basically your message is exactly what you just said, to project and give out this information. And like I said, you put it in layman's terms, which I really, really like.
Yeah. I used to read a magazine called QST. I'm a ham radio operator, and I'd read an article, a beginner's article for antennas, for mobile HF antennas. It's one engineer talking to other engineers. It's not a beginner, an entry level video. So I'm way under what a lot of the guys in the hobby are. But for the people that are just wanting to get on board, I'm trying to make it to where they can get up to speed without throwing money at stuff that they don't need or don't want.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the WL Toys they've hit a good mark, a good little niche within our niche, to get started on, because like you said, it is hobby grade, and it's rare finding a car under $100 that's hobby grade, that's upgradable, and that can, it could take a good lick in that car, for its price point. So, if there's any negatives to the side of RC today, do you see anything like that today?
The difference between some of these cars and some of the stuff that you pick up at the hobby store, if you break something, you can go to the hobby store and buy another one
Right.
today, maybe
Yeah.
in an hour. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
With this stuff, it's not quite that way. You've got to wait on stuff, but I mean, there's a few people on eBay that have parts in stock, and what they do, they buy new cars and they disassemble them, and so
Yep.
they've got the stuff right there on hand,
Yep.
which you're paying basically the same price you would if you bought it from China, but you can have it in a few days instead of a month. That's
true,
the biggest thing. But that's what I see. I mean, a friend of mine had a little Traxxas monster truck, broke the engine mount. Well, it was on a Sunday, so even the local hobby store was closed. So I went out in the shop and got on the milling machine and made an aluminum one.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, and then 20 minutes later, he was back, back in service, and it never has. That was 10 years ago, and it never broke again.
Oh, that's awesome.
It wasn't cast; it was actually made out of several pieces of aluminum. So anyway, just stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff for me that's fun. I love to tinker. Yeah. I love to modify. The 144-001, I've got 3 of them. One that's bone stock,
yep,
and will stay that way. One that I do brushless experiments on, and it's not for me. I'm happy with the one that's stock. Right. But for the guys that are wanting to do stuff, and I did something on this last one, I did something a little different. Everybody else is going with a 3650, 3652, a big brushless motor. I wanted to go to a small brushless motor. One, because I hadn't seen anybody else do it, so I didn't know if it would work or how it would work. And I'm doing 45 miles an hour on 2S, and I think there's more there.
That's great.
So it's that little tiny motor, and it's zippy too, so it's not like you got to have a 2-mile runway to get it going.
Yeah, I would be interested to see if they do come out with a truggy of that WL Toys version, right? Maybe a little bit longer chassis. That's
if they don't, I will.
That's it. We'll make the chassis. There you go. That's awesome. Now, if there's anything, say, in the RC community could improve upon, do you have an opinion with that? Is there anything you think today is,
the biggest thing is for, I understand brand loyalty, but some of the guys bash, oh, that's just a toy. Well, to some people it is, but to some people it's an entry into a hobby. Which is to my point earlier. If you've got $1,000 and you can just throw it in the air and it doesn't matter where it lands, go buy anything you want to buy. But what happens sometimes, people go buy something and they think, well, it's not as much fun as it looked like it was on TV or on YouTube. Yeah. Well, Kevin goes and launches stuff 50, 60, 80 foot in the air, and crashes it. And then the companies send him replacement parts. Or a new car. Well, but when you do that, then all of a sudden you find out you've got to repair it yourself. And that kind of takes the fun away the third or fourth time when you've paid 3 times what the car cost initially, and it wasn't cheap to start with.
Yep. I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing that I see is people try to emulate some of the things that they see on YouTube with the basher guys, and I'm not bashing them, man. If you want to launch your car, if that's fun for you, go for it. But you need to understand, and the new people getting into the hobby need to understand that there's a price that you pay for that. You pay to play.
It is, yeah. It could be a money pit. I've been, I guess I could say I've been somewhat gentle with my cars. I mean, I run them. I love speed running them, and my big Creighton that I have, the 1/5 scale, and this is all my own money. I'm not sponsored or anything. I don't get these cars or trucks for free or anything. So it's my money, and in the back of my head, I'm like, all right, that Creighton's $900. Right. And then the batteries, after batteries, I'm over $1,000 in this truck. And I can make a ramp and launch it up, which I've done a couple times. And after a while, I'm like, all right, you know what? If I break something, it's not cheap, and it's also time. I'm a busy guy. I own my own business, so I'm factoring time in there. So a lot of people today too, they're used to creature comforts. We got everything handed to us today, especially with even new cars, right? Like no one tinkers with their new cars anymore. So I've read on some of the forums where these guys, once they break the cars, they don't even bother fixing them. They just go out and get another car.
Right.
And to me, it's like I do like to wrench on them and fix them up and get them rolling again because there's a reward there, right?
Right. Right. Well, as of right now, this is my supplier and my sponsor is my wife. She
There you go.
allows me to do all of this crazy stuff and
That's
doesn't
awesome.
get too crazy about it. So,
Yeah,
well, if as a matter of fact, I mean, it's like that's where my Gen 7 came from. When Hobbytown, we had our local Hobbytown closed, they consolidated in two stores into one, and they did a 25% off. So she went and she picked up a Gen 7, an Outcast, a 4S Outcast, and a 6S Typhon. And, I was trying to decide which one I wanted. She says, well, just get all three,
and
well,
you got the video on this, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's a video on my channel. It says something about my wife rated Hobbytown or something on the thumbnail. I don't remember what it is. And then she got the chargers and the batteries and all that stuff. It was a bunch of bucks that day,
Yeah.
But and I like those cars. So I'm not saying, WL Toys is, ooh, that's the king. I'm just saying it's a good entry point because you can walk away from it. If you decide it wasn't really for me, you're into it for $100.
So you didn't break the bank too much. Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly. Now, that being said, when you went shopping and you got all these cars, do you today have a favorite RC?
Probably my JTO, my Nitro JTO.
Okay.
It's a 3.3. It's the one I drive the least.
Okay.
But I love the sound and I love the smell of Nitro. I love it.
Yeah.
But I can't drive it.
It's too noisy. Is that what it is, or it's just too? You need a huge area.
It's both. It's very noisy, and I like it a lot more than my neighbors. I'll say it that way. And the one place that I had, it's got a 2-speed transmission. The one place that I had that was big enough to let it stretch out and do its thing. I mean, it goes into second gear at like 42 or something like that and tops out at about 75. There's faster stuff in electric, but I like the sound. I like the tactical feedback through my ears, and I like the sound of the transmission when it grabs a gear. So
nice.
And that's the same thing with the fifth scale. It's got a tuned exhaust on it, 2-cycle, 29cc gas engine, and it's just a 1-speed transmission on that. But it sounds just like a dirt bike. The Hodaka, if you remember those Hodaka Wombat, it was 125cc, kind of a entry-level race bike. And I made somebody with a Hodaka mad, but that's kind of the way I saw those things. And I mean, that's what this little car sounds like. And I like this one too, but can't drive it either because of the noise factor.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's what's nice about some of the cars. I mean, I remember getting out of the hobby, I guess because gas was getting very popular. I never got into gas. And I remember gas got popular like in maybe the early 90s. And it was kind of taking over RC car action. I mean, almost every issue I got, it was really targeting gas.
Mostly, yeah.
And I was jumping into high school at that point, so I was losing interest in the RCs. But now today, I mean, with this brushless stuff, smoking the gas cars, and they're like little Teslas now, right? I mean, technically speaking,
right.
It's just like you said, the technology is phenomenal. So if you were to give a newbie some advice today, I know we probably covered a few of those things, but what would that be if someone's new to jump into the hobby today? What's something you can tell them?
My thing is to evaluate honestly where you can drive it that you can get to in a reasonable amount of time. So I mean, that's what I say. If you this fifth scale, this is the bomb. Okay, great. Where are you going to drive it?
Yeah.
And if you don't have an answer for that, then that's not the car for you. Right. Evaluate the location, evaluate the amount of time you want to put into it, and understand with the new LiPo batteries, all of these cars come with a little charger, but you've got one battery that's going to take an hour and a half to charge and anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to run it dead. Right. So you're going to need multiple batteries. So these are just little factors that you want to, if you're going to come in from whatever your other thing is, work or school or whatever, and you've got 15 or 20 minutes to run a car, that's fine. Just get the car, one battery. You don't need any wrenches, any tools, and just go run the car. be careful with it. I'm rougher on these cars when I do them for the YouTube channel than I typically would if they were just mine.
Right.
Just me out running for a fun day of driving. I'm testing these things so other people kind of understand what the limitations of these vehicles are. So that's my little thing. Okay, that's my contribution to the new people that are coming into the hobby. Is I'm gonna buy this, and if you get this, this is kind of where you're gonna end up. So
that's excellent. That's good.
That's my game plan right now. Where it's going to go in the future, I don't know. I bought the Typhon, and the first thing I learned about the Typhon is it had a tendency to want to roll really easy. So I put a truggy. I did a truggy mod on it. Yeah. Well, you saw that at the sand dunes.
Yep.
You know, I took that out there to that. But see, those are fun for me, but I don't get to drive them as much as the little ones.
Right. I totally agree with you.
So that's the biggest factor. Figure out realistically where can you drive a car. Once you figure out where you can drive, how much room you need, then you can get a car that fits that scale. I mean, there's 24th and 132nd cars that if you just have your driveway that you can have fun with. You got the drift vehicles; they don't have to move very fast, and you can really build up a skill set with a drift car.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
There's something in here for everybody.
And how long have you been jabbing at your YouTube channel now?
A year.
A year. Okay. Yeah. And do you have like a goal for it? I mean, is there a few, 5-year plan? Is there something like that you have? And what do you expect out of YouTube?
Right now, my deal is just I'm happy doing what I'm doing now. I'm at work 100 hours a week. So I have one day off, and this is my day off right now. So that's the reason I don't put out any more videos than I do, is because I've got a wife and a dog, which just got stung in the face with a bee. So we've invested a lot of time in him the past couple of days, but literally I'm at my work for over 100 hours a week. So everything I do gets condensed down into working around my work schedule. I'm going to work probably at the job I'm at. I've been with the same company for 35 years. I drive an 18-wheeler for everybody that doesn't know. I make 3 2-day trips from Colorado to Montana. So that's kind of my deal right there. And I've got like a 5-year window to retire. So whatever happens in this next 5 years with YouTube, I've got another channel. I think with YouTube, to get the algorithm's attention, you have to kind of focus in on something. What I'm hoping over time is that it would be nice to have, sponsors, I don't know, but suppliers that say, hey, we want you to review this.
Sure.
And that would be nice, because every vehicle that's on my channel has been purchased with my own money. And I got quite a variety of different things. Now, I've primarily focused on the 144001 because that's I'll say the biggest interest in entry-level stuff right now seems to be on that car.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I'm trying to show people this is what this car is capable of. And, we'll kind of go from there. But 5-year plan would be nice if some stuff came in for me to review without this having to fetch them, But that's, if it does, it does. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I enjoy what I'm doing. I have a limited amount of knowledge, but it's more than some entry people have. Right. And I can share that with them. And that's, there's guys that are, they're,
sure.
They're off the charts on this stuff. Rick Uberbash is one of the guys on the ARMA stuff. I mean, he's way up here. Yep. Okay. I'm not trying to take his place. Right. I'm just trying to do my little thing. You want to get into the hobby, this is an easy way to get in it. Most likely that's where my focus is going to be. I have other cars that I have just for me that I haven't even unboxed the Creighton, and I haven't unboxed the Gen 7. I've had them for 6 months or something.
Oh, wow.
So my time is so limited. I just haven't made time to do that.
I'm in the same boat. I mean, I did an intro video for my RC channel. Basically said the same thing. I'm like, I'm no expert. We're just here to have a friendly conversation. And I know there's guys that like both sides, whether it's, you know, the TRAXXAS, if I'm allowed to say that. I don't know why some guys can't say Traxxas on their channel. I don't know. I don't get that. So if anybody wants to leave a comment in the section.
You want to know where that came from? They compared a Traxxas vehicle, or they compared another vehicle and called it a mini Traxxas.
Oh,
and that's kind of where that came from. I saw the video that I think you're talking about.
yeah.
And so that's what happened is they kind of made a claim that this was a mini Traxxas. So it's not against the law to say Traxxas. And if you have a Traxxas, I have one. I mean, I can show it on there, but they made a direct comparison saying this is, you know, so they just kind of got crossways.
Yeah, I never got that. And some people are just, you know, and what's a shame is, I mean, I correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you do a review of a Traxxas product and God forbid it's maybe not to their liking, they step in. I hear. Maybe I'm wrong. I did hear that through the grapevine, but you know, who knows? I mean, I don't own one yet, so I'm sure they're a wonderful company. But you know, that's just one of the things I heard. But yeah. So I mean, you know, like I said, I'm no expert. I'm jumping back in the hobby. You know, I got automotive knowledge. I know how to tinker. I know how to, you know, improvise, create things, and build things. So I'm using that outside knowledge that I have for restoring vintage Volkswagens to jump in on these cars and give helpful hints and tips, you know, to my viewers, you know. So,
and there's some things that carry over too. I mean, like with some of the stuff you do on a Volkswagen may carry over to a Mustang, and that's why I like to look at a variety of channels, because what I like woodworking. And one of the things that I have noticed over the years is this guy, he's sharing all this information with you, but there's one little thing that he thinks is his magic bullet that he doesn't share with other people. But it's not the same, this guy's magic bullet. So he tells you about the thing that this guy glosses over, and this guy tells you about the thing that this guy glosses over. But if you watch 30 or 40 different people, you kind of get all the pieces and you can tie them together yourself.
Yeah, I say that a lot on my other channel where I said, you know, there's not really one right or wrong way to do something, and someone might have a different technique on how to do something else. So, no, let's be transparent and have an open forum here, and let's just chat, you know. So, yeah, basically that's, and I'm in the same boat as you. You know, I got another YouTube channel. I got a full-time business, so my time is limited to my RC channel. But you know, right now I'm just having fun. And I think we both just crossed the 1,000 subscriber mark. I just hit it this past weekend.
Right.
You know,
and congratulations on that.
Thank you. I never thought anything of it, you know, but just one day I woke up in January. I said, yeah, I'm going to start a channel. And I didn't know what I was getting into. I figured, you know, there is a ton of RC channels out there. But you know, hey, we're here to have fun. But Dave, I'm so happy you were able to come on this interview with me. I think it turned out real cool. And if anybody wants to hit up Dave, again, it's RC Mod Squad on YouTube. And then do you have a Facebook or no?
I do, but I just don't get on it very much. And it is RC. It's RC Mod Squad. I mean, if I see a little number down there, I'll try to jump on it.
Okay, so the best place to reach you is through YouTube?
Yeah, probably just on my YouTube channel. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that's excellent. So, well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell and do the same for Dave. And hit that bell so you get an email notification when we put a new video up. But I really appreciate it, Dave. Thank you so much. And guys, we will see you next time.
Take care. You bet. Take care, and we'll catch everybody down the road.
All right.